It's time to get real and raw with straightforward talk on the important issues facing us today. This is Real and Raw with Mindy and Boots on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Joni said, and Joni, because Joni's filling in for Boots. What a day for you to fill in. This has been like revolving seats in the studio. Met a lot of good people.
A lot of people in and out.
And so we're doing this call-in hour, and it is dedicated to anyone who is running for any office in the May primary. And you are excited, Joni, to be part of this. They're like, we need to do more of this.
We do. Regular, everyday people need to hear more than just what's on a commercial.
We're going to take a break, but this is so cool because on the line, waiting up next to hear from them are both candidates who are running for Ohio's Secretary of State. We have the current treasurer, Robert Sprague, who just called in, and Marcel Strivich. They are both on the line. We're going to hear from them. We'll be right back. If you are running for any office in this May primary, and it is a busy May primary in the state of Ohio, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. We've already heard from some great candidates who called in and kind of just stated their case of why they should be voted for. We're doing that same thing. We are continuing the conversation. There's a big race for Ohio's Secretary of State. And actually, we've heard from both of these candidates, both of these men on this show a couple weeks ago, and we're going to continue that conversation. Robert Sprague, who is the current treasurer of the state of Ohio, you were one of the first to call in today, and you want to state your case as of why you want to go from the Ohio treasurer to Ohio Secretary of State. Robert, welcome back to the show. Why should people vote for you?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because I think this office in particular demands proven, conservative, responsible leadership. And, that's what I've been able to provide the state. And I think also for Republican primary voters, I'm a proven statewide vote getter and winner twice, not just at the local level or at the district level, but also at the statewide level. And even though I'm from Northwest Ohio, Findlay, Ohio, I've been able to win statewide, even though I live in a small community and represent those conservative values. And one of those values that I represent is I want our elections to be secure. And my goal as the next Secretary of State of Ohio is to run the most secure elections in the history of our great state. And here's how we do that. First of all, I want to move to an upfront citizenship check. That way, we check your citizenship before you get put on the voter rolls in the state of Ohio, and only American citizens will be able to vote in our Ohio elections. Secondly, I want to create an internal audit team, and we will go through the existing voter registrations and identify people who have passed away, non-citizens, illegal immigrants, or people that have moved out of our state, and we will remove them from the voter rolls in accordance with the law of the state of Ohio. The third thing, I want to move to paper ballots in every county, a separate paper ballot that you can see who you voted for, but that also creates an immutable audit trail. We will have a separate stack of paper. We can go back and count that paper and make sure that the machines are not rigged. And finally, I like this idea from Donald Trump. Let's declare Election Day a national holiday. Let's declare Election Day a state holiday so that we can return to in-person voting, and everybody should have to show their photo ID, whether they vote in person or for those people who have a valid excuse by mail. So
totally
that's
makes
my
sense.
Election security plan for the Secretary of State's office.
Absolutely makes sense. Like, just boggles our mind how you don't have to show a license to be able to vote. I can't even believe that would be a consideration, but unfortunately it is for so many different states. So that was, and stay on the line. We're going to keep you on the line. We're talking to Robert Sprague, who is the current state treasurer in Ohio, running for Secretary of State. You are running up against Marcel Strivich. He happens to be on the line right now as well. Marcel, I'm not sure if you were able to hear everything that Robert just said, But do you agree with that? And why are you throwing your hat into the ring? Why do you want to run for Secretary of State in Ohio?
Yes, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Marcel Srbich. I'm a political outsider. I do agree with that, but why haven't we done it? In this case, Mr. Sprague was our legislator for 8 years, and these were not areas that he addressed. This is something he's come on strong with as this primary's heated up, and nobody expected a political outsider to challenge us. So the thing is, I'm not here for a title. I don't need a career, and this is not a stepping stone to governor. This is fundamental that we have integrity and honesty in the elections. And for the last 3 years, I've dedicated myself, supercharged coming out of active duty military with the national security and intel background, to tackle these issues. And I have pushed for 3 election bills. And I would like to ask if our treasurer would join me today in saying his support for Bill 577, which is a photo ID bill for mail-in ballots, because I testified for that, and I have yet to hear him come out on record and say he's supportive of photo ID for mail-in ballots. Why does it take a political outsider who's challenging this system of merry-go-round politics around the term limits that we have to now say the things that they'll do, but why didn't we do it yet?
Robert, I will let you have the opportunity to respond to that.
Absolutely. I support universal photo ID. I support the House bill. I think it's a great idea. And I'll tell you, when I was in the General Assembly, one of the things that we did was pass a lot of elections reform, but I don't think that it's gone far enough. And there's more left for us to do. Now, I'm not running to tear down our local boards of elections. I'm not running to burn down the Secretary of State's office. I'm running to try to build that up. We've done a very good job with elections in the state of Ohio. You can trust the elections in the state of Ohio, but the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And we can see where if you don't have rules in place to check whether it's financial fraud or voter fraud, that people can and will cheat. And let me tell you, the other piece of this is it's good to have photo ID for mail-in ballots. But ultimately, my goal as the next Secretary of State is to lead the charge in returning us to in-person voting in the state. That is the most secure way to vote. And from the year 1803 until 2005, that was the way we voted in the state of Ohio. We voted in person. I know because it's growing up as a kid in Ohio, that's the way I saw us vote. And then in 2005, Republicans changed it to universal, no-fault absentee voting. I think that we need to return back to in-person voting in our state so that we know who's on the other end of those ballots. We need to have more security features in our elections for people to be able to maintain trust in the system.
We have opened up the phone lines to anyone running for office. We just happen to have both men who are running for Ohio Secretary of State, both on the Republican side. Robert Sprague is now the current treasurer, going up against Marcel Srbich, and they are both on the line right now. Marcel, do you want to respond to what Robert had just said right there?
All the things that Mr. Sprague has said are my positions that he is now taking on, but had nothing to say for the last 10 months. He was auditioning for lieutenant governor. This cycle, he announced for governor. He's raised $2.1 million in super PAC money. That's great. I'm glad that a lot of donors like him. I've raised zero special interest money. I am not in this for a career. I am in this for a cause. We have a very limited time to accomplish the things that Mr. Sprague says that we should do. But the difference is my track record in the last 3 years is to put forward bills on every single one of the things that he has just said he is for. I have HB 472, which was going to give us pre-printed hand-markable paper ballots and the county's option to count those. I have 552 Voter Verification Act, which is a requirement for the Board of Elections to qualify people up front. What Mr. Sprague is advocating for, it would appear in this interview, is he's saying that he's going to create an internal audit team, which is expanding government, so that he can check after the fact. We should not check registration after the fact. We need to check it up front. We need to equip the Board of Elections with identity residency residency and citizenship, what's the point of trying to fix the problem reactively when we could be doing it preemptively, especially now that President Trump has given the Department of Justice information on all eligibility information. This is a candidacy, what I have to present, which is going to be action-oriented, mission-ready from day one. It's the only job I want, and it's the only job that I will serve in before I go back to raising my young family of 2, 7, and 9 here in the Centerville-Dayton area.
Okay, I want to end with, because we only have a couple minutes left before we go to break, but I do want to end with one more thing. You both have brought up President Trump. When you see what happened in that another attempted assassination last night, and you look at the political violence right now that's out there, and yet you both want to continue maybe throwing your hat in or this political pathway, what can we do in our country and our state to stop all this craziness that's going on? And Robert, we'll begin with you. You have about 30 seconds. I'll give you guys each about 30 seconds to answer that.
Sure. I think the first thing, right, is the social media is polarizing us as Americans. It is forcing both the left and the right further to the polls. And I think the second is the news media. The news media only rewards those people that really sound, as if they're crazy. And a lot of times people are only getting one side of the story. I think if the news media and also the social media were to focus on people's plans and what they want to do when they're in office, then we wouldn't have as much of this polarization that we're experiencing in our country. And it's a danger, not only to elected officials like President Trump, but it's a danger to the future of our country.
Totally agree. Marcel, you want to comment as well?
Donald Trump said it best, our president. He said the reason they go after him is because he's impactful. Yesterday, I had a leftist agitator show up to Medina County Young Republican headquarters and interrupt our meeting and almost get physical with a congressman and us in there. That's because people understand that I, as a candidate, will do what I say I'll do. I'll be impactful. We have to be prepared, and we cannot, at this point, shirk and be afraid of what they call us. This is a war, in the sense, for our future of our country.
Well, I wish there was a way you two could both join forces, because I like you both. We were talking to Robert Sprague, who's the current treasurer running for Ohio Secretary of State, up against Marcel Stribich, also running for Ohio Secretary of State. Thanks, you guys, for listening. Thanks for calling in. Again, it is the May primary. We are having these open mics for the rest of the showtime today.